hear we lost somebody else from Night Court, too?
Yes, we talked about that.
We'll get to that in a second. But first, hello!
Hello?
Hello.
And welcome to another installment.
You didn't say you wanted a response.
Well, I mean, it was just a natural thing, whether you were going to respond or a listener was going to respond or just the voices in my head were going to respond.
The panic look on his face, maybe. His eyes got as big as saucers. He's like, you guys going to say something?
They're not going to do anything.
Welcome to another episode of the show that when you were a kid, your parents asked you, what did you want to be when you grow up? And you said you wanted to be entertainment. So when you started researching all of your favorite stand-up comedians and people who were in movies, they would be called movie stars, and other people who did podcasts, and then you started researching what they did, and then you got a little older and understood how the comedy worked, and then you began to emulate them, and then you went out into the world,
and
then you completely just shot yourself in the foot because why? You decided that you were going to emulate us, but remember, there is a better podcast. My name is Tony. Thank you for joining us on this episode. And next to me, we've got
Bop Mike.
And next to him, we've got
the intern, formerly known as Ghosty.
Ghosty. Thank you very much for tuning in on today's show. We'll just keep that music running, shall we? I'll pull it down a little bit.
For the whole episode?
For the whole episode.
You're going to pull it down a little bit?
Just a little bit. Because I like to have the music going on. Still, it makes it sound like it's interesting. Today's episode, we're going to focus on the Big Buck Brewery. That is our better beer today. Lots of alliteration in the letters B.
I actually almost went to take a drink right before we were supposed to do this.
It's a good thing that you should probably just grab the Mountain Dew that I had offered earlier, so then you...
I got the Red Bull going right now.
Oh,
after a couple of weeks of being jammered, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this right now. Let's do it.
Good for you. And then along the way, we'll sample the questions of etiquette. We'll talk about a better discussion on panhandling and Mike's movie reviews, among many others. We even have a better podcast recommendation on the docket today. So let's hop right into it here. There is a better brewery. And what do we have for our brewery today?
Well, we got this from Mike. It is Big Buck Brewery. Now, have you ever been to Big Buck Brewery, Mr. Tony?
I've been there once before. It was interesting because the where was I going with that? I don't even know. All
right, well,
I've lost my train of thought.
The point is you have been there before. I have been there before. In fact, this is for those not from the Great Lakes State. It is in Gaylord, Michigan, and
Gaylord, Michigan.
That is en route for us in the lower peninsula. That is en route to Mackinac Bridge and the UP. So that was always like a stop for me. Like way back in the day, even before macrobrews or microbrews rather were like a thing. Mm-hmm. And I had a girlfriend that dated for a long time. We'd go to Mackinac Island, and so we would always stop there. It was a destination place.
I think it recently got remodeled in 2018 or 19. I think it's gotten...
I'm getting to that, brother.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. Open. Wow. They opened a second brewery in Auburn Hills. Did you guys remember that?
He was trying to bury your lead.
Yeah, actually, that was my first experience just recently in
the
there.
Palace of Auburn Hills?
Never been there.
I've never been there up until this point when I went up there a couple weeks back.
I'm going to give you a chance here to talk a little bit about that because, okay, so first of all, I felt like that things kind of went awry for a little while. They closed that second location in 2006. Trying to find the background story, though, of the original Big Buck Brewery. That is going to be hard not to say the wrong word.
Somebody's going to screw it up. One of us.
That was really tough. But I just found out from going to their website that they had new owners in 2018. And the last time I visited that location in Gaylord was in October 2018, and I think they were in transitional phase. I think you and I chatted a little bit about this at one point, but my last experience there was not that good. I didn't enjoy the food. The beer was good, but I didn't enjoy the food. The service was a little bit off. So now I would like you to talk a little bit about your experience because I don't want to send it out on that note. Because
my experience was just recently, a couple weeks back. It was phenomenal, actually.
They greeted him with the wine list.
Yeah, no, that didn't happen, but we had great service. We had phenomenal food, matter of fact.
I thought we were yes-anding here.
And even my my middle son The kids menu had steak on it.
You forget your middles. No,
I didn't want to say his name on there. I didn't want to put it on there.
Okay, we'll call him Peanut.
On the kids menu, there was steak on the kids menu, which how many kids menu? You guys don't have kids, so you guys don't know, but it never happens. No, and I'm so proud of him that he ate it.
I am a middle kid, and I'm picky as hell when it comes to eating.
He ate the steak. He loved it, and it was a cool experience. I had a good time. They have a big, I'll put it on our social media. They have a big giant beer on the outside of the building that I'll tag it in our reviews of the beer here.
And that was the point, is basically I wanted to end on a positive note there because you actually convinced me the next time I head that way. I will give it another shot at some point. All right, so Mike, on his way back, he picked up 3 beers from the brewery. We've got 1 each at this point. We're going to each try this. And Tony, what do you got?
I have beer. Mine is called Kayak Attack. It's a honey kolsch. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And it is 5.4% alcohol.
Oh, I did not look at the percentage on mine.
I didn't look at mine.
That's why I went with this, because it's probably.
Can I go next, Ghosty?
Decent. Yeah, go.
Yeah, yep.
I
next
have
up, Mike.
the Michigan Sunrise. That's IPA.
Happy
as far as the
sunrise.
percentage, I can't seem to locate it, and I don't really want to drop this everywhere. But it has a nice, cool looking can. I actually thought it's 5.5% by volume.
And so this is from Big Buck Brewery.
By volume.
Mine is at 5% per volume, and it's a milk stout, and I have been waiting to say the name. It is called Midnight Velvet.
Ooh,
Midnight Velvet. So we're going to all try this.
Got a little juicy in my undergarments.
In the honor of the Big Buck Brewery Company, I looked up Deer Hunter toast. So we're going to do a toast to the shots not taken.
Ooh.
Apparently a deer hunter toast.
Is that a podcast
I've never hunted a
recommendation?
deer, so I don't know.
Well, actually, I think I know what that's conferring to, because you have those people that will take
it makes sense.
Take shots at bad deer, and they should let it go another year before it can be a great deer, and people do stupid shit out while they're hunting.
But what I liked about it is I don't hunt deer, but I can still say to the shots not taken.
To the shots
not taken.
Shots.
Cheers.
Shots not taken.
All right, give your reviews.
Mine is very IPA-ish, and I like it.
And
actually,
that was
I really
the
do like
IPA?
it. Yes, that is the IPA, the Michigan Sunrise. I enjoy it quite a bit, actually.
Tony?
It's a little thin, but I'm not really familiar with kolsch, to be honest. But when I think of the word kolsch, it makes me think of kosher pickles. So considering that it didn't come out to taste like a dill pickle, I'm pretty happy with this beer.
That was a honey kolsch, right? So does that have any of the sweetness to it or anything?
I'm not really getting that honeyness of the honeycomb of Honey Nut Cheerios, so I'm going to go ahead and say it's not really there, not even like the hint that I was hoping for.
We'll all
to
take
be
a shot
honest,
at it.
I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know what I was... It goes down smooth, though, that's for sure. It goes down real easy.
Apparently mine did, too, because I'm already dry.
Mine is the Midnight Milk Stout, once again, from Big Buck Brewery.
Somebody's going to do it.
I am going to so fuck up. I dig this. It's a good one. I'm not going to say it is anything beyond a regular milk stout that I've ever had, but I can tell you if I had a cigar right now, this beer would go very well with that. So
you're saying at the Midtro we need to go outside, have a cigar with it?
I am thinking so.
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
There you
got
go.
some of those left.
Hit it with the Midtro. No.
Mine is, it's good.
So I'm going to go with it's good for mine, too.
It's okay.
It's mediocre.
Click.
Every beer is not going to be for everyone.
Right,
and I think
you guys might like
to
that.
be honest,
You
I think
guys
we should
might.
rotate the cans that we have, and you guys can try some of the other beers.
Okay.
I say we do
that's
that
a
at
good
the
idea.
Metro as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So what do we got, Tony?
Oh, my goodness gracious me. So
What's up next?
I probably should get the show plan out, shouldn't I? Because I'm
Yeah,
too
probably.
I'm too busy like fucking around on the internet. But I do have a question for you. It's a question of etiquette, really. So a friend of mine had a friend over, and they used his facilities. And after the fact, the facilities were, I will say, less than clean.
Ideal
to use, less than ideal. That's a good way to put it. There, we'll just go ahead and go a little bit more in depth. It was streaky on the CT.
Oh,
yeah, they left a couple presents behind on the seat. Didn't bother to clean it up.
On the seat or underneath the seat?
No,
Dude.
on the seat.
On the seat.
Not the lid, but on where you sit. Not underneath the lid or underneath the seat. It was on the seat.
That's a whole different
where
dynamic.
You sit. Yes, exactly. I mean, there have been a couple times where, like, I've had some anti-gravity poos happen. I mean, they as you guys clink, I'm talking about anti-gravity poo here.
To the shots not taken.
To the shit's not taken.
Apparently, we like the beer. We just poured ourselves another round while you were talking there.
Guess I'll just enjoy the rest of this coal shear.
No, we're going to switch here in a second. I want to try it.
Yeah, because there are going to be a lot of this left over. None of the other beers left.
I am going to try
God
not
damn
to
it.
drink the rest of the stout, but it's
not going to be a problem. I know you, Ghosty, and I know if we don't act
Take one
quick,
of those other beers that from the past shows that are in there and drink the rest of that.
I got
We have
that Red
quite the
Bull too.
collection
All
going
right.
on.
So finish up with this. Better etiquette.
So my question to you is, first of all, there's two parts of this question, I guess, two sides of this question. So if you are the party, the offending party, and you leave a little present behind, do you believe that it is your duty to clean up after yourself?
That actually did make me laugh. Sorry,
it got me too.
Is it your duty to clean up after yourself, or do you leave that to the person who owns the house, who has to take care of the house, shit anyway? No pun intended there.
Can I?
We'll start with that.
Well, can I weigh in here? Like, to be honest, I thought this was like one of those things that you're talking about your friend. I thought he was talking about the episode when I was cats and hammered, cats and jammered, and I thought, because I hate to say it, I have Crohn's. So each time I go in there, it's a shitty episode. So, and I try to take medicine for it, but all it does is make me gain weight, and it doesn't really help at all. So I thought you were actually subtly taking a shot at me.
Ew.
And we talked about this recently. So I was like, oh shit, did I? Oh shit. I was like, oh, did I do something? Because I'm normally very conscious. I was like, I'm worried about that because I don't want to be that guy that does that.
So I assume that we already know your answer then is if something were to happen, you would at least be kind enough to take a look around afterwards and kind of read the room.
Yes.
I think I would always. I would take
because it's one of my worst fears is actually doing that. And I thought I slipped once because sometimes you don't think about it, and you're like that day I was so hammered, no, cats and jammered, hungover that I wasn't thinking exactly straight. So I'm like, oh no, I'm like, did I really do?
Were you on Adderall that day?
No, yeah, that's coming up here soon.
All right, so you know that.
Why did I wait?
You know that episode where Rick of Rick and Morty, where he goes to his own little private bathroom. Okay, I am a shy pooper that, so I will avoid at all costs. Yeah. I would avoid even going in the bathroom.
Really?
Yeah, which means that basically, if I had to, if I had the ability to get back home or something, I'd probably do that. But
there's a level
if there was
of
no way out of it and I had to do it, and it would be that much of a mess, I already will do everything I can to make sure nobody knows I was in there. So if I have to wait out the stink, I will do that.
I've done that here at this episode where I'm like, this is going to be bad. I've made it up an excuse to leave between at the break to go somewhere. I'm like, hey, I got to go pick something up. And I'm really just going to the bathroom somewhere else because I'm like,
so you weren't picking up, you weren't picking up, you were dropping off.
Yes, I was making a deposit.
Yeah, you don't want to really withdraw, do you?
Yeah, when Tony and I, we lived in the same house for a little while. And when I first got there, it took me forever to get over that.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
I didn't know that.
No.
Apparently, we all need to read the book. Everybody shits or everybody poops. Yeah. Apparently, because
if you want to go ahead and gift that to us, you can do that through Amazon Smile, and then just send it to thereisabetterpodcast@gmail.com.
So I think the answer to better etiquette is if you shit on the seat, take care of that stuff.
Like, just look behind. I thought you were talking about underneath the seat where sometimes a splatter pattern happens. That's really hard to tell.
That happens. You can't tell, yeah. No, but if it's like painfully obvious that once you get up and you see, oh, Jesse was here.
But see, that's the thing that's the thing is I would actually look in that toilet to make sure that is not even got any streaks or anything crazy. If I had to, I would look for a wire brush or something and clean that toilet if I had to.
Why is Ghosty going in there with a pressure washer?
In the old house, I didn't really have one of those cleaners at the ready. In the new house, this current house, I do. So it is there if you need that. So okay, and honestly, I agree with that too. That it is upon the fault. No, not the fault, but whoever's
due process.
There you go. Yeah, if it's your mess, you clean that shit up. So the second question is
be called the poo process. Sorry, I'm sorry. Like people are like, are they really going to spend 10 minutes talking about poop?
Damn right we are. Also,
buck yeah.
So the next question is, okay, so if you were on the other side, if you were the homeowner and somebody had done that, would you trust their process of cleanliness after the fact? Do you think they would even wash their hands?
Like if I went to their house?
No.
No, meaning
so you're here, they use your restroom, and then they come back, and then you didn't notice it at the time. Of course, you're not going to go and check the bathroom after they've done using it, but it's something that you notice after they have left, and then 2 hours go by, and you're like, oh, I got to use the restroom, and then you notice that, oh shit, they left some presents behind. Then you start to think, well, I just shook this person's hand, or I just used the same door handles, or I just used the same whatever that this person used. Now I'm calling into question, do they even wash their hands appropriately? Do they just run water on them? Do they just wipe their face and assume that that's correct?
Do they go through the entire alphabet while washing their hands?
Or you can sing happy birthday to you.
That works too.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know that I actually could. In fact, I can't imagine. Like, actually, in my case, I probably would not invite them back to my house. I hate to say that.
Yeah.
I feel like kind of a dick saying it, but I'd be like, yeah,
it's
not gonna happen.
I think for my sanity, I have to believe that even though they fuck up the toilet, that they still have some type of hygiene skills. Because if I can't trust it. If I give in to the other side,
like the better of the person,
it would be maddening for me that I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah. That
we couldn't. I
wasn't going to cheers to because you're talking right now, but
whatever. I couldn't deal with it. You're trying the summer.
Oh, are we switching up?
Yeah, you're trying the Michigan Sunrise. I'm trying the Kayak Attack.
Hey, did we do the word of the day?
We did not.
We'll get to that.
What do we got? Oh, okay, sorry.
We don't have to.
I forgot.
I don't want to do it for. I don't.
That's fine.
You're running this shit, aren't you?
Shit, indeed. Today's word is boondoggle. What does that word mean? And where is that from, Mike? I think you know this one.
This one is from North America, which is not a country of origin, by the way. That's a group area. It's a noun, work or activity that is wasteful or pointless, but gives the appearance of having value.
What was that word again? Pointless?
Pornless.
Oh, pornless. Okay.
Also, it could be used as a verb.
Can you find those on
I've only
OnlyFans?
ever known this as a verb, though. Waste money or time or an unnecessarily or questionable project.
This is the first time I have ever heard this word.
I've always thought it was more like a stealing. I always thought boondoggle means to like steal. Well, I guess steal time. I'm
like bamboozled.
I always thought it was that movie Boondoggle Saints.
It does sound like a
I love that
word.
The real Boondock Saints. I friggin' love, by the way. I wonder if that's going to make it into the
ooh, that could be. Who knows?
List thing.
Yeah, could be. Well, it's your bucket list. So
boondoggle.
Even if you need to, just increase the bucket.
Boondoggle.
So as you were saying, you were talking about kind of looking for the betterment of people.
I have to believe it, even against our own peril. But like even this whole COVID thing makes me less inclined to shake people's hands, and sometimes it really bothers me, especially when I'm meeting a new person.
I still hug. Even.
Yeah, we hugged when we got in here today.
Yes, we did. That was my fault. I'm sorry.
And I asked you to put pants on after that because yet again. It made it a little weird.
Didn't change anything.
We're gonna have to go to HR.
Still walking without pants.
Fucking HR, man.
And tidy whities.
Basically this whole the deal of trying to think of the better of people. That kind of brings us to, if you don't mind me skipping ahead to the better discussion, panhandling. Okay, so here's the deal. This is the reason that this came to my mind and something I wanted to talk with you guys about. I went to a store, and as I was going into the store, this young man approaches me, and he says, "Hey, mister, is there any way I could get a couple of bucks from you? I'm diabetic, and I'm going into diabetic shock."
Like right then and there?
Yeah.
I'm like, did you
call
an ambulance first?
No, this was my reaction. I seriously laughed and went, "Dude, you have so got to get a better excuse."
Oh, to his face, you did not.
There is a better excuse.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
But it was also one of those things that after I said it, and you could, his reaction was just kind of like, he just went to the next person.
Yeah.
He's probably heard shit like that before.
So obviously he's not going into shock.
Thing. That's not like normally me, but it was just so, like, I know people who are diabetic. I don't know really much about it. But I thought the same thing you just said, Mike, and that was, why are you trying to get dollars from me when you should be getting an ambulance or going to the hospital?
If it was true.
Or whatever the case.
It could be that they need some money to get some food or something for their blood sugar level.
But
I don't know.
Here's the deal. You guys know me well enough to know once I walked away and got into the store, I was like, God, what if that kid really seriously was having
You
issues?
analyzed this for the next week, haven't you?
I analyzed.
He's dead because of you. You know that, right?
See, that's not what I need to hear.
I know it's not. That's why I said
there
it.
is a better death sentence.
That was exactly it.
He's not dead. He's
it's
fine.
one of those things where I didn't feel like I had anything to feel guilty about, but it still rotates in your brain where I'm just sitting there going, what if he really was having issues and I could have helped him? Because again, I don't know enough about the disease. Is it a disease? Is that considered a disease? It doesn't matter.
Sure.
I don't know enough about diabetes. I don't know enough about it to actually know what the case would be. Go ahead.
I have had two situations. First of all, I didn't know it was actually called panhandling. I guess I was about to ask you the definition of that word, but you laid it out pretty strong there.
But go ahead and use it in a sentence.
Yes, boondoggle.
And also the origin of the word and
two of them actually.
One
of my situations was in Washington, D.C., and I was coming back and forth in the Marines on a bus, and I didn't have a whole lot of money. And this other guy he saw that I was in the service of some sort and played a little bit of a card. And he played me out of the $20 I had left in my pocket because he said he desperately needed food. I ended up going to the ATM, getting more money for myself. And the last little bit of money I had, I went and bought myself some McDonald's because that's all I had. I'm like, oh, whatever. So I was walking down Washington, D.C., and lo and behold, I look into a restaurant, and look who's eating the biggest fucking steak I've ever seen in my life.
How do you eat steak in McDonald's?
I was in McDonald's. He was eating a steak, taking the $20 that I gave him.
Oh, he didn't just take the $20 you gave him. He
took
the $20
a lot of other
else gave him.
And he was so out of place because this was like an upscale place, and it was weird. And from that, I was like, I had a lot of like
you were
hatred.
Scared. You were alone.
But that's kind of where it comes back to where it's like that thing. Because there are genuinely people out there that I am more than happy to give some cash to. If they're really down on their luck, they're having issues. But what you just saw, that's what makes it so you don't want to do it.
I got one worse.
Yeah.
This happened.
Great.
I went down to Lansing once. We were going, actually East Lansing. We were going to
How far down the rabbit hole can we go?
I was going to a Spartan game.
Tony and I, we share that one story, right? Tony's looking at his phone.
Sorry, I got a text vibrating thing going on.
He's
like the vibrating.
Anyway,
it was all about the vibrating.
I was walking to Spartan Stadium.
Territory.
Yep, and some guy was out begging for money, just begging. I don't have money for food, and this was years later, almost 10 years later, probably from the first one. And I normally don't. I'm like, dude, I can't help you. I don't carry cash, or whatever. This one, I believed him, gave it to him. Walking out of there hours later. I look over in the same area, and he's behind trees, and I can clearly tell he's shooting up right now. Oh. So I just played right into his hand of my worst fear of feeding this guy, contributing to something that's slowly killing the guy. Now, and from that moment on, I have never given to.
Now here's another way. Here's another way to look at it too. Is because
go ahead.
I was just going to say there are some people who, they just need that one more. It's like an alcoholic. They'll. Not necessarily, maybe not literally die, but they'll probably go into some sort of shock if they don't have another sip of alcohol. So it's kind of sometimes the only way to save them is to give them what their body is craving because their body is, it's depleted from whatever it is that it's craving, and it will send them into shock. So maybe you did the guy a favor. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't want you to feel too bad about it because maybe you did the guy a favor.
Who knows? Like, I've never recovered. Like I think I consider myself pretty charitable, and I give to other causes that I can verify and stuff like that. But when they were right in my face, like I won't do it because I feel I couldn't live with myself if I did it, and like I found out. God forbid somebody OD'd, and I'm like, oh my God, I played a role in that. I don't think I'm
about that too.
But see, built strong enough to get over that.
That part I don't even have a problem with, and the reason I don't is because I did not pull or play a role in that. That was up to that. That was up to that
needle in their arm.
That was up to that was up to that individual. What they did with the cash I gave them, that's up to them. But where I do have a problem is where it's more deceptive. Kind of like you're talking about, where the whole
steak,
yeah, that's BS, man.
That was hard. Like I had a lot of resentment for it. I'm like, I was barely getting by at the time.
I got one more story to tell, but I want to make sure. Do you got something?
No, let's keep going.
Tony actually already knows this story, and this is something that basically in the downtown area, there was this gent who came up, starts asking me for $1. and he had some sort of stomach issue, and you could see it. He had a wound in his stomach.
Yeah.
I don't quite remember the story of what he told me, but it was some sort of disease or something like that. So I gave him cash. I think I gave him like $5-10. Go ahead.
I think I might have run into that guy as well.
And that's the thing is, I think we had this shared
and he had
story.
He had like a scar going all the way up almost to like the middle of his chest.
So he definitely
and I think
had
he said
something
something with his gallbladder, or maybe it was like his heart or something along those lines.
I swear to God, if you guys are circling into a Crohn's joke, I'm really going to be pissed at you guys.
Not at all. Not at all.
No, but now that you mention it, we probably should just round it out.
Fast forward about a year later.
Piss everybody off.
Same guy comes up to me, starts telling me a story about how he was in the war.
Oh, that one's not.
And I straight out looked at him. I was like, dude, you need to keep track of who you're panhandling from, because you just told me a year ago that you had some sort of surgery for a disease. He basically got in his bike and rode away. I was like,
yeah,
come on.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though, is it goes back to the same. I mean, like you, charitable, happy to give when I can. Give to the local food bank every year.
Yep.
And
we have a contest that's
I guess that's kind of where
I get back on that.
I justify and I try to get myself okay with the idea of not giving to somebody. But it's like, how do you know?
I just do the firm. I don't have anything anymore. And most of the time, I don't even carry cash anymore because I don't want to be caught in that situation. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
You ever get the upsell panhandling? Okay, so
what's that?
There was a time where I used to walk around because of the area that we live. Very often you get a lot of panhandlers, and I would automatically walk around with $1 that I would always put in my right pocket, and that way I could easily access it because you don't want to be pulling out like 20s or whatever.
Right.
In my right pocket, I would always give it to them. No matter who asked, just here you go, here's your $1, moving on. And I would give it to them, and then they go, yeah, can I get another 5 from you or whatever? Even if you give them a 5, they try to get you up to 10. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I just gave you money, and you're trying to upsell your fucking panhandling?
Do you have any like DVD players in your pocket you can throw over to?
I don't get pissed off, but there's that point where you feel like just saying, fuck off.
You got that new iPhone for me too?
Like, there was one guy who actually did that too, and I was on the same place that you and I ran into the other guy with the scars. And now I wasn't smart like you and had just $1 in one pocket versus everything else in my wallet, because normally I don't think like that. So I brought up my wallet, and I had like a couple 20s, I had a few 5s, and then some 1s. And I was pulling it out, and like I started thumbing through, and I'm like, here, I'll give you all the ones I have. He's like, I'll take that 20. I said, nope, you're not getting any. And I put it all back in my pocket, and I walked off. I fucking walked off. I'm like, that was bold. That's bold.
That's a bold move, Cod. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Well, I never saw him again, so I'm assuming either A, he never wanted to bother me, or B, he must have.
Or that was the $20 he needed for his insulin. Way to go.
You're welcome.
There it is.
Martin Scarelli.
All right,
so that's a guy who's got a punchable face if I've ever seen one.
Basically, you guys are confirming to me and helping me to understand that no, I do not have to feel bad about not giving. Right?
No. I don't. I personally don't think so.
I mean, especially if you're doing what you can in other means.
Give where you believe that you should be giving. If it's to food banks, great. If it's to
cancer research, it's
if it's to the Red Cross or any other organization. I mean, some people do have things to say about the Red Cross, but whatever. The point is, I think if you're giving to wherever you believe that it needs to go and that it's going to help the most people, then by all means.
And did you just imply the Red Cross is a terrorist organization? What was that?
Did I say a terrorist organization, sir?
Is there something underlying there?
Did I say the Red Cross is a Talibanese organization? No, I did not.
Oh, Afghan. Oh.
Yeah, that whole thing's going on. So in the future, when you're listening to this and then this is happening in the past, that's all going on right now.
So if you've got a good story about that, or you want to share with us maybe an altering opinion, we're open to that. You can always do that at our Gmail, and that is thereisabetterpodcast@gmail.com.
Whoa, look at you. Hey. Yeah, you can also send us a direct message at There's a Better One at Twitter.
You can also find us on Instagram at There Is a Better Podcast. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It is that time. We're going to take the half tro The halvesies. I got a halvesy.
By the way, I moved on to the second beer.
I know. You got tiny whiteys, I can see.
The IPA is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's what I thought,
too. The IPA
too.
is good. I like that one, too.
I think after the break, we should give our number one recommendation out of the three of those.
Attack.
Yeah, let's get the other beers during the break, and then we come back. We'll talk more about that. Sound good? I think it's exactly what you just said, Mike.
Yes. R.I.P. Marquee Post. R.I.P. the Marquee Post. That was a hard one.
Especially for Tony.
Giggity.
Oh, no. We've had enough poop humor for one episode. I am not going down that well again.
Blame it on Tony.
Streaks.
Streaks McKenzie. Not that McKenzie.
I know Mackenzie.
Good God. Welcome back to the stupidest fucking show you might hear today.
Bucking.
That's what I said. Big Buck Brewery. That's what we're talking about.
Buck, yeah.
Big beers, baby.
You can get your,
Buck, yeah.
You can get your bucks off there.
Get your buckety buck boobers.
But don't give your bucks to panhandlers.
No.
Or badonkadonks.
We just wrapped up the whole show in 30 seconds, and that was fantastic. It was all ad-libbed.
Welcome back to the podcast. There is a better podcast. You can find us on Twitter at There Is a Better #1. You can also find us at what's the other place?
Instagram.
Yes, thank you. Where is that?
That is There's a Better Podcast. This is reverse. We never do this.
And
if you ever want to do it the old-fashioned way, you can always email
Write us a letter.
at thereisabetterpodcast@gmail.com.
Damn Skippy. My name is Tony, and I'm just standing here right next to.
That's it? You're not getting a name? That's just me. I'm
Bop.
Bop.
The greatest band of our generation.
And I, of course, am the intern formerly known as Ghosty.
That's probably a reason why the millennials just don't get as much credit. It's because of bands like Hanson.
Did you guys like that song when it came out?
No.
I didn't.
Okay.
I did not.
But I love hearing it now.
It's catchy.
It's cheesy, and I think we ought to bring that up at some point.
We should.
Does it like bring you back to the past in like a certain point in your life when it came out and you're like, man, that was a good point in my life?
It's not even that, man.
I remember making out to that song
Sunshine
once.
Pop.
Seriously?
It does remind. Yeah, okay, it does.
Why were you making out during Mbop?
It was on in the background. I can't control the radio.
Swear to God, were you listening to light rock or something?
Probably.
Probably.
Nostalgic? Yes.
Why would you be listening to light rock while you're? First of all. I mean, okay, the Quiet Storm, that's one thing. And believe me, I appreciate the Quiet Storm too.
Play
But
some Usher up in here. Some
Bop?
Genuine.
Ushar?
Ushar.
Ushar?
Hey guys, we're doing a show here.
Oh, sorry.
Back to
Since when did
There
that
Is
happen?
a Better Beverage.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're doing that, aren't we?
So, yeah, we were drinking Big Buck Brewery beers that Bob Mike brought back from Big Buck Brewery. Wow, that
was fantastic. Good
know.
job.
And that's it. Thank you for listening to the show.
Hit it
We're
with
going to
the
end it with a
outro.
high note.
We're never going to get better than that right there. The show will go down from here. I guarantee it.
That's some alliteration, and I did not boondoggle one bit of that.
Whoa.
I don't even want to talk anymore. Just read my fucking segment. I'll just sit over here.
Fuck you, asshole. That's why you're sitting all the way over there.
All right.
So
You know what? I'm making you do the show next week.
Mike brought back some cans from Big Buck Brewery. For those of you not from the Great Lakes State, that is located in Gaylord, Michigan, and we recommend you pop in there at some point. We had 3 beers to pass the buck.
For those playing at home, Mike was bopping his big boobs.
I was saying I brought some cans back and I was molesting myself.
So, Tony.
It's kind of enjoyable to watch.
Tony, which one did you end up with?
So I first started off with, well, it doesn't matter what I started off with, but Kayak Attack was my first one. That's the Honey Kowalski. Wait, no, that's a hot dog. It was a juiced hot dog is what I started off with. Oh, God. Maybe that's what we should do later on. Let's juice a hot dog.
Wait, so
you
ended up with a honey...
I started off with a honey Kolsch, and then I went to the IPA, and then I went to the... what was it? A milk stout? What was that called again?
It was the Midnight
Can you do that again
Velvet.
for us, formerly known as Ghosty Intern?
Midnight Velvet.
Oh, God.
I'm moist in
And
my
I
jeans
wonder why
again.
most of us have a hard time keeping pants on.
Midnight Velvet.
That voice
That's
has
why
probably
they
dropped
just
some
say
pants before,
that's why
hasn't
HR is
This
like,
one
don't
should-
even worry about
This
pants.
one's kind of like more of a Michigan sunrise.
This one is
Ooh.
Kayak Attack.
Sunrise.
That's a good beer.
Let's go down the rapids.
I think that'd be more of a Kayak attack.
Kayak attack.
Fuck you.
Kayak attack.
All right. So the order.
Voice.
Order, Tony.
I'm gonna go with.
Spit it out, Swallow.
I don't know. I can't. I'm having a difficulty with 1 and 2. Number 3 is Midnight Velvet. I didn't like that.
You didn't like it, really?
Didn't like it.
That's
it doesn't
interesting.
matter.
That is.
I'm gonna go with number 1, Michigan Sunrise. Number 2, Kayak Attack. Number 3, Midnight Velvet.
I'm going with number
Batman.
1, the Michigan Sunrise. Number 2, the Midnight Velvet. And number 3, the Kayak Attack.
Really? I was actually a little bit. I mean, mine is easily Midnight Velvet.
Wait, is this the Kayak Attack?
Midnight,
that was just sport, or did I just?
No, that was Midnight Sunrise.
No, this is.
Velvet.
Or, I just created
Midnight
2 of them.
Sunrise.
I just created my own beer.
You
That's
put
the Michigan Sunrise, though.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
this is yeah. That's why I go first. Yeah, that was
Okay,
Good.
I'm about to.
I was going to change it up because I was
So
enjoying.
mine was
this one,
Midnight Velvet first. That was my favorite. That was the Milk Stout. My second
Milky
one,
Stout.
I actually am going to go with the Kolsch. Is that how you say it?
Kayak Attack. The
Kayak.
Kolsch. Yes.
Kayak attack.
Kayak Attack.
Kayak attack.
Hey.
And oddly enough, as much of a fan of IPAs I am, the Michigan Sunrise was my least favorite.
I cannot fucking believe that.
I can't believe that either.
I thought it was fantastic.
So did any of us agree on any of them?
No.
Not one.
So you went with
I went with IPA, Kolsch, and Stout.
I went with IPA,
No, you went with
Velvet, then Kolsch.
Kolsch.
You guys don't tend to like hops, though, right?
I know. I love hops.
I'm fine with
Oh, really?
hops.
I'm okay with it.
I did not taste a
I
lot
like
of
Hop
hop in
Slam.
that. I didn't taste a lot of hop
good.
in that.
Ooh.
Just try that sometime.
Or Two
If you haven't
Hearted.
already done so.
Yeah. So I went with Stout,
Don't be the lead.
Kolsch, and then finally the IPA. IPA was still good though. I'm not going to say that it wasn't.
What's up next? What are we doing? Oh,
Tony.
It's me.
Oh, hey, you know what?
Guide us, Tony, with your wonderful wisdom. And
So now that, you know,
Your
and after
underoos.
you drink beers, of course, what better to enjoy beer than a movie? And I have a feeling there's a couple that we can listen to or know about to enjoy our beers with. Let's go ahead and open up Mike's Movie Reviews. Mikey, all the way.
Oh, I'm going to miss that. Did I just bury the...
God damn it.
This week, we have on deck Suicide Squad. Excuse me, I said that wrong. The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad.
There's a different movie called Suicide Squad, which came
just
out
like
in 2017.
Ohio State University versus the Ohio State University.
This is the Suicide Squad. Came
The
out
Suicide Squad.
in theaters on HBOMax. Amazing intro. You know how I'm all about the intros. It sinks
Oh,
the
yeah.
hook to get you in the movie.
Yeah,
Amazing intro.
that's why
And
that's why you enjoy
I'm not
our
gonna
show.
say a whole lot, but suicide is right, and that's it. That's it.
Whoa,
I'm
whoa,
just
wait a
leaving it
minute.
at that.
You know, I always thought suicide was right too, but then I finally saw the light.
You know, this is the other reason why you actually are considering the whole thing you're considering, because we always derail your movie reviews.
I didn't even think about that, but yes, let's go with
Because
that.
here's the thing.
I believe that
you
this week it's
mentioned the
Ben-
intro, and we might have talked about it before. Zombieland, still my all-time favorite intro to any movie.
It's a great intro.
Oh, wait. Deadpool 2.
That one's a good one too. It's hard to beat the intro of, for me, probably Saving Private Ryan. That intro was long.
Okay,
but it
I
sets
take it back. Saving Private Ryan,
Shaving Ryan's privates.
Yes.
but not
Make it
with,
a cue.
not with the big buck.
Hey, what about
All
now?
right,
Anyways,
Suicide.
You know, I
the-
just got that joke.
the Suicide
Oh
Squad.
my God, it took me this long to figure out to understand that joke. Wow.
the soundtrack for this one was
I'm
familiar.
today years old.
But it was weird that I couldn't place most of the songs or any one song in particular. Like
Were they like ill or knockoffs or
they
something
weren't
for legal
knockoffs.
purposes?
It was unique. Like
So instead of like Jay Giles band Freeze Frame, it was like hold
Giles
the frame,
Band Free-
hold the frame, hold the frame, hold the frame, hold the frame. Woo! Now hold the frame.
the funny is the soundtrack hits hard at the beginning, then it completely trails off to almost nothing towards the rest of the movie, which is, I think
Like
was
any
a,
Ryan
Does that not
Reynolds
sound
movie.
like Fear Street?
yes.
That's what they
We're
did
going to talk
in
about that
Fear
here in
Street.
a little bit too. I got news about that.
Oh, okay.
There are definitely funny parts for it, and I think if you have a comic book movie now that's out there, you have to have some funny elements to it because they're kind of hitting some hard topics now. And like, for example, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they kind of take on racism to a certain degree. They're starting to in bringing in other things into the shows, and you have to have the funny parts to kind of lighten it up. It is definitely raunchy and vulgar.
Vogel?
That's
Vulgar?
Okay, so you're going to need to explain this to me because I don't have HBO Max. Well, sort of. I said sort of. Shut the hell up. The Suicide Squad. So this isn't like the other Suicide Squad?
This is a different take because in the Suicide Squad,
the
beers. Why do I always have to go last with all the beers? And I'm just a bumbling fucking idiot.
Bumblefuck.
You do that without the beers.
Yeah, that's also true. Bury the lead.
Stop boondoggling.
Stop boondoggling myself. Ooh.
Hey.
Ow.
I'm going to pull that out.
Boondoggle myself.
Boondoggle.
Yes, thank you, lady. Not everybody makes it in the first one, right?
Okay.
It's kind of picking up from that one left off to this one, introducing new characters and kind of going through the same thing, right?
So
but this one's brought to you by James Gunn.
Is this actually a part 2 then?
Yes, in a ways, yes, it is.
Okay.
But it's in its own way, it has its own unique story. This one's by James Gunn, the same guy that did Guardians of the Galaxy series.
Oh, okay.
I like this one probably a little bit more than the first one. It's vulgar. It's raunchy. You kind of have to expect that. John Cena plays the Peacemaker in it. He's going to get his own series on HBO Max coming up in January, I believe.
Didn't he learn anything about peacemaking once he replied to China's?
He plays his role extremely well. And Idris Elba probably plays the most, the main role besides Harley Quinn, which is Margie
Post.
So is that the same actress?
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Harley Quinn's still in
Margot
it.
Kidder.
And they play perfectly off each other. They kind of like, you sit there and they have a good banter. I like banter, competitive banter. That's my thing. That's why we have a podcast, because we sit here and challenge each other.
Margot Robbie. That's who you're talking about.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I cannot ever say
She was the
her
only
name.
reason to watch the other Suicide Squad movie, because that was
she
the
plays
only
a big
reason
role
that
in this
people
one,
actually
too.
fucking saw it.
Yeah, and it was good.
It's not worth it.
Was she the one that played in Birds of Prey too?
Yes.
Okay.
She's the only one I've actually seen play Harley Quinn.
I have not seen that one.
It's like one of those roles, like kind of like Robert Downey Jr. If they ever recast Iron Man, I'll have a hard time believing anybody else is Iron Man, because I thought it was a perfect casting.
Oh, Robert Downey, absolutely.
I cannot.
Unless
come
they
up
put
with
Sean Penn in that role.
No, dude, no.
But what if he was Spicoli?
No. He could be spaghetti and it won't matter.
Oh, you're a dick.
Anyways, this show or this movie,
I would see that.
it was fun. It's fun to
pretty
watch and it's entertaining. The greatest movie ever? No. A lot of people were saying it was the greatest Marvel movie or Marvel. Ooh, that was blasphemy.
Hello.
The greatest DC movie ever. I do not have those same feelings. I thought it was fun and it was one of the better ones that they've ever done. Yes. In closing, I think it's good and it's worth a watch. This next one is not a movie. It's actually a series. And this one took a long time to get to this one. It's called the White Lotus. And basically what it is, it's a Hawaiian island resort with all these guests coming to this island. And each one of these guests have their own separate story and backstory. It's very crude and funny, but like most of the time, as I was watching this, I had this like, what the fuck feeling? Like, what am I watching?
I kind of had that same feeling when I was watching like the previews for it, and it just did not draw me in.
It took a while. Then all of a sudden, there was a couple of things that kind of hooked me on it. I'm like, what am I watching here?
Steve Zahn was the only. Well, Steve Zahn
actually really good in this,
Jennifer,
by the way.
what's her face, who played Stifler's mother?
Yes.
Those would be the only two people that I would watch this for.
She has all of them have really weird.
I love Steve Zahn though.
It's got
funny as hell.
I don't know. I don't even remember most of the people that are in it. This movie's like the numbers when they released them when they came out on HBO Max they weren't great, but they weren't bad. But they kept on, each episode, it kept on going up and up. It tripled each time it was released, a new episode. It got up to 5 million watches by the finale.
So is this the new Game of Thrones, basically?
No,
for
absolutely
HBO?
not. No, it's already over with. They can't do another. If they do, they shouldn't.
So they should. They learn from their mistakes.
Most of the time, I was watching like, what the hell kind of hotel is this? Like, what is going on? Or this guy that's running the hotel is kind of aloof. It was funny as hell at times. It's super weird and super, super cringy. Like there's this one moment, I don't even want to spoil it. There's this random
spoiler alert.
There's a random sex scene that's so bad.
I'm in. I have to watch this now.
You're gonna eat those words.
You might benefit from it.
No,
Wait, how is it random?
How is it? How was it cringy?
It was building to it. You didn't. The whole episode up to this, they never really show anything, and they show in great detail of what's going on. And you guys are gonna text me after you see it, like, why the fuck did you do this to me? And you're like, dude, it's messed up. It had some weird, like, goofy music all the way through this too, kind of like Suicide Squad. It was like a majestic Hawaiian music is the only way I can even.
So you said this is like TV series?
It's a TV series. I think there's only 6 episodes or 5 episodes.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
It's on HBOMax.
What my amount of time invested would be?
You can watch all of it.
You're not persuading me at this point
To watch it?
What would absolutely, other than a random sex scene, what would really get me to want to watch it?
There's a lot of passive aggressive bullshit.
I do like Stifler's mom, but not enough to go, I'm going to watch that.
There's a death in the movie.
I do like Steve Zahn.
There's a death in the movie.
Is it Zane?
And it's not who you think it is.
Maybe I was wrong. I thought it was Zahn. Z-A-H-N?
I don't know. What the hell?
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Anyways.
You see one Steve, you see them all.
He's good.
Steve Martin.
He doesn't need our justification, approval, whatever.
Yeah.
The opening scene alludes to a death of someone, right?
Okay.
But it doesn't tell you who it is.
Okay.
It gives you a strong indication of this one person that dies.
Okay.
It's not who you think it is.
And that's the entire kind of premise, is you're kind of waiting to find out that through the entire
thing? I think the
thing?
entire premise is that a bunch of white people have a lot of money and they don't know what they're doing on vacation, and all these vacations don't tend to be relaxing as what you think they should be, and it gets really complex, really goofy and weird.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it was good. It's very, very good. I wouldn't ever want to watch it again, though, if that makes any sense.
It does, actually. I've seen shows like that.
I watched it once. I was happy with it. I'll go with my it's good and move on from it.
It's good.
Okay, well, then thank you for those reviews. Do you want to throw out another review for us while you got it?
I don't know if I really have it's a review of it, but Ghosty's been on my ass.
I have never been on your ass.
That's not true. You said you needed answers for
okay, I'm on your ass.
The quiz, you said you were going to pull them out of my ass.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
You know what he said about your ass, Mike?
What?
Dude.
Meaty-ocre.
not the first time I've heard that.
Mostly the meaty part.
Yeah, like I don't remember jack shit. You should know that by now.
I finished Fear Street.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's nice. What did you think?
I loved that they released it as 3 separate things.
Should we like give a quick synopsis?
Why don't you go?
Basically, Fear Street was based on the R.L. Stine books,
Yep.
and it starts off with which I thought was interesting. They started off with 94.
Yep, and
so it's Fear Street starts off in 1994, then it goes to what
78?
year? 78.
Yep.
And then finally it finishes on 1666.
Yep.
So basically it to me it was weird because it started off kind of more slasherish, and then
had Scream vibes to it.
And by the time we were done, it got to more of an occult kind of almost Children of the Corn. Not quite the best way to explain it, but yeah, that kind of a vibe.
I loved
thoughts?
that it did the whole series. I loved that it was streaming and that you could tell a story longer than an hour and a half of typical movies. That it told the entire story. I didn't feel like any of it was boring at any time. I felt they all went together. I liked the different eras. That it does, like the 1994, I think it was, and like you said, the soundtrack to that one in particular was
that was
awesome.
Yeah,
and that might set the hook for me. But then they kind of explain like all these stories connect, and at the end of each movie, it kind of circles back to what happened previously, and they keep on circling back, even using some of the same
podcast name, the Circle Back.
We tried that.
We tried that. Yeah.
I like how that they repeatedly did that, and kind of you knew there was more of an explanation and why all these stories stuck together.
Right.
I thought it was good, and I don't really get too high or low on horror movies and slasher.
I do enjoy horror movies.
Do you like the Saw series?
I do like Saw.
I do not.
I do.
I don't like
Saw or Hostel. Anything having to do with torture, I can't do it.
Hostel I couldn't do. Saw I could do for some reason.
I like Saw. I think Scream for me is it's already on the bucket list. But
Scream is a great freaking horror series.
Scream, the series was just fantastic. I liked that slasher one. But then you go into like
I Know What You Did Last
Jason.
Summer.
I didn't mind that one either.
Yeah, the first one was okay.
I don't like Jason and
I do like those.
And Freddy Krueger,
because they're
like,
ridiculous.
See, that's the part I don't like. I like over the top ridiculous, like when you get to Starship Troopers, not the same genre, but
my God,
it's so freaking ridiculous. Like Shaun of the Dead, it's ridiculous.
I love Shaun of the Dead.
I'm definitely a huge fan of over the top.
28 Days Later, hilarious, fucking hilarious.
Action movies like Crank.
Oh wait, that wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh
my God,
movie.
Love that movie.
Love it. It's so cheesy and stupid.
Smoking Aces.
I haven't seen that.
Another
one, but I've seen
terrible movie, but it's good.
Over the top. That's the point, though.
Yeah.
Over the Top was a great movie too.
What's your favorite?
For the younger folks, I don't know. Look up Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling. Just such an awful movie.
What's your favorite out of the three?
Out of the three,
Fear Streets.
I think by the time I was done, I liked 78 the best, and I'm not exactly sure why. I can't give you details. I just something about it just seemed to work with me. And I think, actually, you know what? I think it is because it was kind of reminiscent of the 80s horror movie genre.
Yeah. I think mine would be 94, and I know I'm in the minority of that, but the soundtrack said it for me. Like,
that was an
soundtrack's
awesome
a big
soundtrack.
deal for me.
And 78's was pretty good, too. They
it
had
was,
some good cuts
but
in
it
there.
was not as nearly as pronounced as of anything else. But I like how that they did 3 separate movies in 3 separate timepieces, and they felt all organic. Like, it didn't feel like they cut corners on it. It was well done. I thought it was phenomenal. I think I wish they would do stuff like this in streaming options more moving on.
I don't know what they did exactly to make that happen. I don't know if it was because of the way that it got released. Because originally we were talking about how it was supposed to be a movie theater release. We'll try to wrap this up quickly. Tony,
no, we're good.
Tony's like, I
you're good.
We got
Keep
plenty
going.
of time.
I have not seen this shit.
Keep going. I'm just standing here. I'm just looking at. I'm prepping for the next episode.
So basically, my
OnlyFans.
thing about it was what I liked, and props to Netflix for basically release 1 week, release 2 week, and then.
And I'm glad you said that.
And that was awesome because it wasn't like this huge spans of time where after a while you forget about it almost.
If they would have done that shit like releasing 1 per year, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, neither would I.
And I wouldn't have cared enough to go back and watch the first one again. I don't
completely
care.
agree.
I would probably watch them again, and I probably will around Halloween time because
Sure.
I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
I like
good movies.
Scooby. I like the spooky vibes.
I like Scooby Snacks.
Scooby snacks. Scooby Russos.
Tony, come on, do your Scooby.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
all right.
He can't do it.
Shaggy.
He can't do it on command.
No, I can't.
The pressure was too great.
Hey,
All right, that's more like Tim Allen.
Overall, Mike and I agree on the Fear Street.
It's good.
It's good. Tony was too busy prepping.
He was prepping.
It's good. There we go.
I have other shit that I have to do on the show. Guys.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what we
sorry.
hear.
He's researching for our next topic of OnlyFans. So this week there was quite the controversy.
If you want to call it that.
I call it that.
I call it controversy.
I call it. I
That's
think
what they
it's
say.
total
It is
bullshit.
kind of
across the pond.
controversy.
Controversy. Isn't that how they say
It's
it?
boondoggled one way or the other.
British-
Let's
So
go.
they.
British
I'm gonna
English.
boondoggle myself.
blonde
wait, what?
doggle your saints.
So this week,
I don't think we've been using that right, by the way.
OnlyFans
Yeah.
announced that they're going to no longer allow sexual content starting October 3rd. That decision is shit. Thank you, Tony.
Yes.
I have really strong opinions about this. Really, really strong
You're
opinions.
paying for it. You should get what you want out of it. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean,
and
it's
I know
just-
the
it's
reason
just
why
how
they did
the
it.
show-
I know why OnlyFans did
Well,
this.
they're kind of
Only
shooting
failings?
themselves.
Yeah, that's actually correct.
Aren't they kind of shooting themselves in the foot?
A little
Okay,
bit.
it's like OnlyFans deciding not to do porn is that the ocean decides not to have water anymore. Like, what
Right.
the fuck?
I saw another one too. It's like OnlyFans no longer doing porn. So YouTube?
Yeah. The problem
Or
with this is
any other part of
and
the
they're
internet?
Basically.
They're open
Do they
on-
still have RedTube though? I think
don't know.
that's still
Is that a thing?
you search it on your computer, not mine.
Yep. Search it on your work computer. Trust us. It's okay.
Don't do that. do not do
I'm
that.
joking 1%.
Somebody's
that-
really going to be going to
that
HR.
that is not a better
That's
recommendation.
not a recommendation at all.
But they decided to do this because they're trying to look into investment capitals,
Right.
and they said they wanted to basically reduce that. That's what their site is. These content providers, sexual nature or not, there are ones that are not. They're allowing nude pictures, and I'm putting that in quotes. You can't see the air quotes, but not sexual content.
I can
so
feel
basically,
the air quotes.
they can control what they deem to be sexual content, right? Now, all these people are creating their own stuff. This was the only place that they had that they controlled their own content. So now we're shoving, basically, I'm going to call it what it is. We're calling the sex entertainment business back into shitty avenues of way of earning revenue, that they're going back into terrible situations with agent fees and all this other shit. When they finally had an outlet, they finally had something that was theirs, and for them to build their platform, mind you, they even bragged that they made $5 billion off of this, off the back of the sexual workers.
Sure.
To turn their back on them is inexcusable.
So what?
And it's bullshit.
Then do you think the CEOs just made their money and said like, I'm good, I'm done with this, and I'm out of here?
I think there's an investment group that's really looking hard to invest money into them that cannot do it when they have sexual natured content.
So you're talking about. So you're talking about places like
MasterCard, Visa, like investment groups out of New York.
Okay. I was thinking more like Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A.
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Hobby Lobby.
I think that it's people that have a whole lot of money that want to invest in the site, thinking that there's a future with it.
All that
I don't think there's
that
a future with it without this.
No, I don't think so either. OnlyFans. I was going to start an account of OnlyFans, and it was just going to be a bunch of fans in a room.
Yeah, I saw that on.
That was so many jokes ago.
There's a better joke.
There is a better joke. It's not coming out of my mouth.
I can't imagine this being anything less than devastating of people, especially during the pandemic, that didn't have other ways to earn income, found a way. And
the good part about it, though, is it's been established that this is a way to make money, right, and do what they want to do.
Yeah, and I think it's empowering for them.
Somebody's gonna pick the baton up and run with it. You know that.
But 3 years from now, like they had something. They built their back on these people.
It's bullshit.
It's a total bullshit statement, and now that there's an outside investment firm that basically are backing this, like how I think it's gonna be like Tumble. Like they just took a Tumblr, excuse me.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's going to take a massive fall because of this, and they should. Like I don't have any sympathy for OnlyFans at all. I have sympathy for the content providers, creators. Excuse me.
I prefer Reddit because like people just do that for free if they want to anyway, and you have to go search for it though.
Just think what you think about the content itself, but you didn't have to go search for this. If you wanted you want to support your person or your whoever you like, you have to search for them. It's not in your face. It's not overwhelming. I don't know. I've never been on it, but I've never seen somebody like go like this right here and go like shove it down their throat. I've never had those feelings.
Go like what again?
Giggity.
What? Shove it down your throat?
Shove it down your throat.
I'm getting I'm getting fisted. Is that what I said?
Yeah, that's what
I'm making a fist because I'm getting really pissed off.
Boondoggled.
I'm boondoggling myself. It's unfortunate and it screws over. Yet again, it screws over the little man.
It's
for the sake of for profits.
I agree.
Yep.
So this week there's a better podcast recommendation. Guess what?
We don't have one.
It's not a recommendation. There's
Okay. So is this my turn to talk about it? I guess. Yeah, I guess sorry. I'm totally just. I'm in another world right now. I didn't realize I was part of this conversation.
Are you looking up Reddit right now?
I was actually.
You put the seed right in your head and you're looking up Reddit.
Well, this is interesting and totally off subject, but the first thing that showed up here, Ask Reddit, and this is actually something I was going to do later on with you guys and with you as well, with the listeners, is kind of an Ask Reddit thing, but it was also going to pose the questions to you. But the first thing that popped up here was, what surprised you most about sex when you lost your virginity? Hey, let's just do that. Fuck it. I don't even care about the other thing I was going to talk about.
Can we have some time to prepare?
What surprised you most about sex when
you
lost my
your virginity? Yeah.
I have one if you guys want to think about it.
Yeah, go for it. I can tell you. I can tell you my story when I lost my virginity. It's pretty fucking awesome.
Not the story. What surprised you most about it?
Well, actually, it didn't surprise me.
I'll let you guys go first because you guys screw me on this shit every time.
All right.
Excuse me?
No, you guys pull some revealing part of whatever I've got to say and then go, well, we had this, and it's not nearly as bad.
Okay, so I'll share mine first. I'll share you my I'll share you my
Mike,
fucking
go
sex
ahead.
story.
Look it up. Show me where I'm wrong.
I feel like that's going to happen.
But wait, how can we show you how you're wrong on your fucking virginity losing night?
Let me get that time machine cranked up.
I'm talking about the fact
that I can't find it now.
I'm talking about the fact that I get boondoggled on all the shit.
And I've been right 100% of the time. Let me get my time machine and go over there and slap you in the ass and run away real quick.
I think I've
for the listeners,
before,
basically, Mike has like he can't always smoothly spit out the words, but the fucker's got like memory. Like I don't
He's
know.
Steel trap, man. Steel
it's
trap.
like
Nothing's
it's like
getting
he
in, nothing's
remembers
getting out.
every single shit every single thing I say.
I don't know if it's
because he cares
you.
about you.
All right, so go.
He doesn't care about me.
Go, Tony.
All right,
Okay.
repeat the question so we're back in line.
What surprised you the most about sex when you lost your virginity? I'll go first. That's fine.
Sure.
Okay. So the night that I lost my virginity, first of all, it was like one of those nights where you become a statistic.
Boondoggle.
It was. It's a night where you become a statistic. I was one of those prom night virginity losers.
Oh, really?
I was a loser on prom night, essentially.
I didn't say that, but...
Well, no, but it's exactly what it was. I was 19 at the time. A little bit late for some people, but that doesn't matter. Anyway.
Just you wait.
So the girl that I was... I went to her prom, because I was already out of school by then, but we had already been dating for a while. But I was graduated, and then I went to her prom. She was just a year behind me, so it would have been her senior prom. No, it was her junior prom. She was 18. Don't worry. Anyway, so when we we went up to the casino, and we had a good time up there. And then she told her parents that she was going to stay overnight at a friend's house because it was just so late. She didn't want to come back in, so on and so forth. So she actually came over to my house.
So you've got her lying already.
Well, yeah, you know. Yeah, you know.
Slipping the salami.
Parking the bus into the town.
Population 2. God, I hope other people get what that reference is.
Yeah, you'll have to cycle back for that.
Yep, go to the eHormony skit. You can get that on our Patreon eventually.
No.
So anyway, we go back to my house. I've got a waterbed.
Tony's getting ready to
He's about to bop it.
I've got a waterbed, and it's like the coolest fucking thing, especially when you're like a teenager, like 19. You got a waterbed and it's heated.
The ocean.
Oh hell yeah! So we get into my bed. And the headboard has like 2 shelves, and then it's got a mirror in the center.
And a set of handcuffs.
It's got 2 shelves flanking the mirror, and on one of the shelves on the left, I'm just gonna gloss right over that. And the shelf on the left had a clock radio, and on that clock had a nice little digital read. Anyway, so
we're about to have the same story.
We were starting to get into the motion and the movement and everything, and then I protect myself, and then we start going at it, and the bed's rolling and things are moving and it's feeling good, and the waves are going back and forth, and just like she's looking great, I'm feeling good, and so on and so forth, and finally it's like and then I look back at the clock and the time did not change.
Oh,
I have a different take. We have an eerily similar
I have
story.
got a way different take.
It took me longer to explain this than it was to actually have it happen.
Okay.
That's what surprised me.
Our stories are eerily similar.
I thought it was going to go longer.
Yeah.
Our stories are eerily similar.
Time didn't change.
Except for one
Go
big
ahead.
difference. Okay, so...
Go ahead. I'm all ears.
Almost all that, except for no prom. Whatever.
Whatever.
I was older. I think I was probably 19 or 20. I was one of those guys that tried to wait for marriage. Wasn't an idiot.
No, actually, that's perfectly fine. That was my intention too. But
I came from a pretty religious family at the time. So I came back from the Marines, and they knew, like the guys, like everybody knew this was leading up to my girlfriend at the time. They knew this was happening. So those stupid assholes in the Marines got in my head. Uh-oh. They're like, dude, don't be a 2-pump stomp, man. Don't be a 2-pump stomp. I'm like, start thinking about anything else. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And like this became a huge thing in my mind. Like that's all I think of. Like she'll leave you if you do it. There's all these terrible things and like all these terrible advice that are none of it which are true. God, I wish we could go back in time and give ourselves younger advice.
Oh yeah,
younger advice.
So it started, and this was in my back of my mind. And
then middle of your mind,
middle of my mind, front of my
mind.
So basically, it goes for so long that I couldn't. An hour and 42 minutes later, and I never did. Couldn't do it. Tried, couldn't get it out.
I'm going to applaud you for the longevity.
It ruined sex for a long time for me.
So technically, it wasn't your first. If wasn't your, you didn't lose your virginity. Then you didn't blow it.
Hey, never mind. I'm not constitute what.
I'm joking. That's because you would have lost your virginity.
An hour and 42 minutes, and I finally tapped out. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And like,
did at least she enjoy it?
Apparently, yeah.
Hopefully so.
Yeah,
good.
Really?
Yeah.
So I've only done 1 2-hour session. That was a long time after.
All right, you guys know we're running long, right?
No,
it's our show. We can do whatever we want.
All right.
No,
Yeah. My story is actually more closely to Mike's than yours, Tony. Yeah. So basically, I did the same thing. Yeah, I wasn't waiting for marriage, but I wanted to be in love with whoever it was I was going to be with. And it was like it was about 18, I think, around where I lost my virginity, and it was one of these things where I had been dating the girl for a while. We'd worked together, and finally we did it on my bedroom floor because we wanted to keep quiet so like nobody in the house could hear us.
Jesus.
And make love, not war, on the bed, not the floor.
Much like Mike, though, I never actually did anything. I like went the whole entire time, and we went for quite a while.
Yeah.
She basically got on top of me, and I got on. There was all sorts of
you had fun
stuff. It was a good experience,
but it wasn't.
But now
explosive.
here's the deal. That has always haunted me ever since. And what I mean by that is, anytime I'm with a person for the first time, I do not ejaculate.
You don't get off.
I never ejaculate.
Wow!
Like every time.
This episode has everything.
Has happened we got every single time.
we have sexual encounters.
We have 1,
this
2,
episode
and
has
3.
everything.
This is the perfect episode.
It has.
Well, we're done. We're
it has
done
literally everything. Even
from Mbop Mike.
We bopped everything.
All right, let's get the hell out of here.
It's time. Let's get the fuck out.
I need food.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm flummoxed.
Hopefully this has been a good experience for you, the listener.
Did you get off? Let us know. Email us at thereisabetterpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter
at There's a Better than the number 1.
And on Instagram.
Which I have no idea.
There is a Better podcast, yes.
My name, is it?
Yeah, it's the same thing as the email.
Well, it's the Twitter that always confuses me. I am the intern formerly known as Ghosty.
I'm not Michael.
And I'm Tony. Thanks again for sticking around. Don't forget, leave a comment for us on Apple Podcast. And I think Google does the same thing too. Wherever you get your podcast at, leave a comment for us. Because we're still trying to get rid of that fucking Radio Shack hat.
We'll even up the ante. After you leave a comment, send us a direct message on Instant Messenger or
anywhere.
On Twitter, or email us, or any of the ones we just Instagram
mentioned. Yes,
email us, and we'll send you a sticker as well.
Oh shit, we got stickers.
Yes, I'll mail them out myself. You can see them on our website. We'll tag this too. Jeez, so Pete, that was good.
I love it.
Sweet.
We'll see you next time.
Boondoggle.
Marky Post, R.I.P.
Aw.